Alright, then I believe too. And with that, there's only one thing left to say. Let's rev it up!
Alright guys, welcome back. Okay, so I wanted to make a video today, especially because today marks a day exactly from when I won my first regional. Like 1 year ago from today, I managed to get my first win with one of my favorite decks. If you guys have been subscribed since then, I appreciate it. Thank you so much. I'm glad that we enjoyed the same thing. But I almost forgot to upload a video today. I was like, wait, I was trying to remind myself why I wanted to do something today. I wasn't sure why. But I knew there was a reason why I wanted to do it today. And then I was like, oh, look at the day. I was like, oh yeah, today's the day. So I wanted to make sure I got a video up today. And this is just pretty much a nostalgic feel. Just re-upload this because this is crazy. It's almost similar to how the deck was from that day, but there's a few minor changes. But majority is the same. It's just crazy looking back at it, how far it's come and how different the deck is now. Like it's Dark Synchron, and from Junk Double to Dark Synchron, it's a drastic change. It's just insane how far it's come, and it's crazy. Like a year ago today, that's insane. And of course, like if most of you saw the video, I was playing 3 of these back then. That's when I was like, okay, that was the standard where you just needed to play 3 of these, and it made sense at the time. It did, like, 'cause you wanted to just mill with your Raikos and just be able to mill it as often as possible, or just open up with as consistent as possible hands, and then charge for the Raikos, and plus you could mill like all this. It just fueled your grave for junk, which is what you needed to do. Otherwise you'd be stuck. But like, that's crazy. A year ago today. That's like, oh my god! Thank you guys for watching. Oh, that's awesome. It's just evolved into this, and from this to Dark Synchron is just a major difference. Like, by the way, like this is not consistent at all. Like if you open up like 1 2 3 4 1 2 3 4, that's like a brick. That's a brick hand. So which is why this is. I think. If you want to make like, I think the route to take Junk Apple is more of a grindy type thing, and not much. Of course, you can do the OTK setup, but you run the risk of breaking, because there's a lot of cards that don't go with each other. Like, example, if you open up like these 3 or these 4, I guess the best thing you can do, you can do something, but it's hard to get this, because with Dark Synchron you can have access through it with freaking so many ways. Arfdel and Armageddonite, which is just insane. And the only way you can get access here is if you mill it, or 1-for-1, or foolish, or somehow hard draw it if you like allure it. But even then, it's still a bit of a struggle. So I think for this, for the style of Junk Double, I think it's better if you go like a grind type of scenario where you prevent with hand traps, and then follow up with a summon junk, because there's a lot of hand traps that are like level 2 or lower. Like under Jarlek Bird 1, DD Crow's under as well. Veiler for sure. That's like the iconic thing right there. Junk Double and summon Veiler back. And then of course Max C is just insane. I mean, of course you can't bring back Ogre or any other Cherry or the Ghost Ash, but like everything else is fair game. So I think that's the best way to do it. And pretty much the whole concept of when I built this deck, like when I first started playing with it, I was like, okay, what I want to do is be able to pop something, like, and then end phase twist or whatever they have left, and then my follow-up turn, like I would just go summon junk, and then for whatever reason I always believed that I would always have this, and I always did for whatever reason. I always had it, but that was the whole idea. Like the whole idea was either you go first, open up this, and then charge, mill any of this, and then summon and go off there. Or if you like don't open up, like if you're missing one of them, right? Let's say you just have junk, Okay, and if I didn't mill anything, I'll mill something. And if I didn't mill anything good, then I'll just get this, and I would like set the right go. I'll have a twin twister. I'll set that, so I'll T set, and then I'll say go, and then they'll like attack this, and then I'll pop something, and then I'll mill, and then fuel the grave even more, and then end phase them twin twister. Like that was the ideal scenario that I would want to catch myself in, and that's the whole reason why I built the deck around that type of strategy, and it seemed to work out. as funny as it is, it worked out pretty good. But now that the new cards are out now, like grass, incorporating grass in this, oh man, that's just insane. Like especially because you can all this will be engraved, and on top of it, there's snow, trick clown, so many things that now like Rush Warrior can synergize much better because like I guess this is a decent milling engine, you mill 3, but the fact that you can mill like almost half of your deck. For those of you that, I'll put a picture. Rush Warrior, it's level 2 win. So what it does is, if it's in your graveyard, you can banish it and add a Synchron from your graveyard to your hand. And you can recycle Formula Synchron, Exile Synchron, add any of these back. So like ideally, let's say this is grass, your grass, and then you'll mill like a bunch of your stuff, and if you happen to mill these guys, then you can just add the appropriate one depending on your hand. So that makes it much more versatile because you can mill like an immense amount of freaking cards. So that's one way to take it. But I think if you were to like go a certain route, I think going with like Baylor is just an ideal scenario because like you can let's say you prevent, like let's say, because I think with this deck you can play strikes. If you don't play the milling engine, you can play strikes and barriers, because like, let's say you set your strike, or let's say you set your strike and you have like a Baylor in hand, right? And then you have this in hand. Like that's not bad. That's pretty good. You can stop, prevent, and then Baylor something, and then follow up with a junk play. And then if they stop you there, then you have your trap to like stop them, and then you can try it again next turn. If you have the card again, either tuning or junk or whatever. But that's just the way to do it, I think, because like you run the risk of having like, because all these don't have that in common. The only way they can be used optimally is if you mill them, and sometimes milling is like a bit luck based, which is it pretty much is. It's really because like, yeah, they're good in the grave, but if you open up all these, it's not a good sight. Like it isn't. Like you don't want that. It's like with Inferno. Like you would rather have a grass resolve than have multiple Infernos in your hand. Even with Decatron, that's decent, but it's not good enough. You want to make sure you mill first, which is why that's like an obvious weakness. That of course, like the odds are kind of with you because there's like 3 grass and 3 left on offering, so you can pull it off that way. But it's so good that people are playing it because they see that even if they do open up, it's pretty much guaranteed win because it's so much advantage. It's just so much advantage just gained off just one card. That's just really crazy, like a power card, and that's the definition of a power card, where you literally don't have to think. It just that the card itself is that powerful that it can gain the advantage or just get you back in the game, because that's just crazy. Like I know like some people think of it as like they get upset because like these decks are really combo and very I guess gimmicky if you were to give it a description. But if you think about it, you start off with 5 cards, right? When you build a deck, you base it off consistency depending on what strategy or whatever, or whatever way you built it, right? There's an ideal hand or there's an ideal scenario that you want to catch yourself in, and you know that if you ever catch yourself in that scenario, you know how to maneuver it, and you know, oh, if I have this, I can stop that and this, and then from then on I can capitalize with this. yeah, it's cool and all, like being able to build a deck that way, because that's how decks are built. That's how good decks are built, by figuring out a strategy that you feel is pretty damn powerful. But you have to understand, like, that's something I don't like. I don't like when people do is when they apologize when they just won, when they beat someone off of a top deck. But if you like, what is it to get upset about? If this game was only based on what you opened and nothing else, that's skill, because it's based off, you built a deck, you put the cards in you want them to sequence in a certain way. That's why they're in there. So if it came to that point, then I understand. But this is not, this game is not like that. This game is, okay, you can do the best with what you got with your opening 5, and you yourself made that choice of picking that deck or that specific card. Anything else you top deck, you know it's luck, you know it's probability, you know it's sometimes it's unfair, but that's the excitement part about it. Like, that's why it's exciting. You don't know, unless you backjack. Don't book backjack and then rearrange it and know what you can have. But like, you get what I mean, right? Once you shuffle your deck, whatever you top deck, it just up to probability and odds, depending on what ratios you have. But that's something I don't understand why people apologize. Like, well, you can apologize, but like, it's like, I mean, it's not just based on solely what you open. It's, you're gonna draw a card, and then that's gonna add to your scenario. It's like when you play poker, right? You start off with your hand, and then they flip the cards, like, oh yeah, okay, and then I don't know how they call it on a poker player, and they call it, and then depending on what the cards they pull out, that makes your hand better. You get it? Like, this makes your hand better. So I don't know. I don't understand it sometimes. But I guess people can get upset. I guess you're invested. So I guess that's their reaction of showing that they care, whether they lost or they won. But I don't know. It's a bit questionable sometimes. But that's pretty much gonna be it, man. I just wanted to show you guys the nostalgic thing. Okay, anyways, let me show the extra deck, because the extra deck's the same thing as the video. But your tokens, of course, because you needed that back then with double tokens. And of course, you play your 3 formula, Tatsunoko, Herald. Oh man, this is crazy. Going back to it, like, Core wasn't out there. Black Rose, Road. This was like a really critical part in the deck. That was just crazy. Trish, and then Quasar for sure. That was just, oh man, that's crazy. going back a year, man. That's a year. That's crazy, man. And then, like, so much cards have been released. So many cards have been released. Like these out already. Thesis is the thing. Crystal, man. Bryo's back. There's like two Bryos now. So it's been quite a. It's been a long time. Oh man, I can't speak properly. It's crazy. Oh man, it's just crazy how different, how the decks changed. And oh man, that's pretty much gonna be it. I just want to show you guys. I'll do like an updated build and like an optimal to like modern day current format type thing, because I think okay, so I think this is gonna be kind of useful with links, because like, let's say let's say you link summon into the link zone, right? Like, you link summon into the link zone. I hate that blur with it. So you link summon in link zone, right? In the link zone, yeah. And you have all these 2s, so you can bring back up to 4, right? So let's say you play grass, and then you just make this, and you bring back 4. You bring back, let's say you bring out 3 quills and a doppel, right? Then those can be used as link materials. So that's gonna be really useful. That's one of the applications you can use. But yeah, that's pretty much it. What else did I miss? This is just crazy, man. This is a year, man. That's just crazy. That's pretty much gonna be it, guys. That's gonna be it. Thanks for watching.